Leslie, right, I'm sorry to.
Because we do not have a quorum, but we need to go ahead and get the meeting started. You have to be respectful of time. So I want to first welcome all the new members. Annette Robinson, first of all, she's the new co-chair. So we're both here in person along with Alyssa Yu, who's a new member. And we have one of our presenters, Phil from the Hungarian Pastry Shop located at 1030 Amsterdam Avenue at West 111th Street. So again, at 6:39, all the meeting to attention. Can I get, do not have a forum, it is required that all committee members meet in person. So we'll need to adopt the agenda. Did everyone get an opportunity to read the agenda?
You're coming through very faintly. Can you speak more closely into the microphone?
Let's see, where is the mic is way over there. Let's see. Can you hear me better now? Or is there an echo? There's a bit of an echo.
It's still similar, Heather. It's not terrible, but you were cutting out there for a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of faint.
It's the mic here, but there, I guess the mic here. Who has to turn up the volume again, I think. But I won't be doing much talking.
All right, let me just get.
Give us a second. We'll see if he can turn up the volume. I'll try to talk loudly. But if you can't hear me, that means you won't be able to hear the presenter, the person that's presenting here. Again, is there anyone from New York City Parks? Because if not, we'll go ahead and allow.
Yes. Heather, yes, I'm here, and Steve is here too. We're ready to present.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Put your presentation up. So who has the presentation?
I have the presentation, but
Nicholas, I think we may have lost you.
Heather, it's Leslie, right? If you want, while they're reconnecting, I'd be happy to give a 2-minute update on Denny Farrell Riverbank State Park.
Oh, yeah, I'll wait until Annette comes back into the room, and then we'll have you give her update.
Find the architect. I'll be right back.
okay, great. Sorry. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right, so I guess someone else can drive and I'll just I'll speak over it.
Okay, I'm just giving Annette a second to come back into the room. Again, I don't know if I can go through the slides. I can turn the page.
Would it be possible at all to give me sharing ability?
What's the name? Hakeem, the person presenting, how do you get them share it? How do they share it?
It's all happening. Yeah, it's working out.
What's the name of the person who wants to share?
For the chair, what's your name?
Nicholas Grepenstedt.
Yes.
All right, so go ahead, I'll stop sharing. Go ahead and share.
Okay. All right, can you see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
All right, but let me, do you have about 2 minutes? I want to give Leslie Wright an opportunity. Let me first.
Sure, good. No problem.
Leslie, opportunity to give her 2-minute update because we're running behind.
Excellent. Thank you, Heather. So hi, everybody. I'm Leslie Wright, New York City Regional Director for New York State Parks. Here to speak about Denny Farrell Riverbank State Park. The good news, the most recent headline is our track and field is open again. We renovated it. And for those of you who live close to the park, who go to the park, you know that it opened back up on Saturday, and it's absolutely stunning. It's all ready for everybody to use. We've got a full roster of permits already let to all the various school groups and athletic groups. So that's terrific. Our locker room renovation in the aquatics complex is up and running. We have temporary bathrooms, temporary showers, very flashy striped changing cabanas on the pool deck for everybody. So even though we're under renovation, the pool is up and running as per usual. Having said that, we are in our annual shutdown. It's a 2-week shutdown just to do annual maintenance. So we open back up September 21st. Our fall classes are starting in early October. Registration begins. We give priority registration to seniors. That starts just in the next handful of days. The entire program guide is posted on the website, and I'll be sure and share it with the community board so that it can come out to you all as well. So it's full swing, full action at Riverbank. Our summer was really busy with concerts and programs. We celebrated the park's 30th anniversary. Heather, it was great to see you there. And so many others of you. Thank you so much for helping us celebrate that milestone. If there's time and anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Okay, so this is a good time to start.
Heather, I think you're muted.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. All right, let me know if there's any issues. My internet has kind of issues today, so just let me. Hi, so I'm Nicholas Grepenstedt. I'm a senior landscape architect at New York City Parks. I'm here to present a pool deck reconstruction. It's one of about 10 that we're doing right now all across the city. This one is for Sheltering Arms pool deck. So I'll get started. It's got a $1.8 million budget, mayoral funded. The main goals are to reconstruct the pool deck, the drainage system adjacent to it, improve and maintain ADA accessibility, and then in general facilitate different types of recreation opportunities for the community on the pool deck itself. This is Sheltering Arms at the crossroads of 129th and Amsterdam Ave in the Upper West Side. No direct flood threats at the pool deck itself. Stormwater is not an issue either directly on site.
Can I ask you to use your pointer as you're going through the presentation?
Sure. So I'm pointing to the site, mainly near multifamily residential and also institutional facilities. The site itself is not landmarked, but it's adjacent to a landmark church. And this is the existing condition. So on the left, you see an aerial view with a main pool, the main pool deck, which is lower relative to the waiting pool deck. You have some stairs right here in yellow, right by Amsterdam Avenue. And then we also have this little yard in the top right corner, which is currently fenced in and used by our parks M&O staff for winter utilities. Basically, kind of showcasing here in this picture, we see a car kind of driving in. So this is where our M&O vehicles actually need access for just general pool maintenance, and you'll see this reflected in the design. And then we have the bathhouse, where we have a male changing room kind of exiting around here, and a female changing room exiting where my pointer is over here. So these are existing conditions, and as we've done for a lot of our pool projects, we just look at the general state of disrepair of the existing concrete deck, and while we're going in and replacing everything and improving it, we're also proposing some additional designs. So the next two pictures are just showing you a little bit of the conditions we're dealing with. So one thing we noticed when we're doing this is that the female changing room, you see the door here, it just kind of shoots straight out into the waiting pool. We've heard concerns from M&O and from park staff that basically you had kids just kind of like running straight into the waiting pool, which could be a concern. So it's something we just want to make sure we can control the flow of circulation, the circulation flow a little bit. And then at the male changing room, there's a little bit of a grade change. So there's a step showing you, sort of view from the main pool deck to the waiting pool deck. So you see this grade change again, and really dreadful conditions for the actual concrete pool deck, which is completely cracked up and, creating hazards for feet and for people, and tripping hazards. The existing pool benches too, which were kind of like outdated and falling apart in some cases. This is a view showing you, again, like this sort of M&O access. So an area we would want to keep clear, mechanical room. And so something here I want to highlight, this is a view on the right picture here. It's along Amsterdam Avenue, looking into the pool deck. And as you can see, there's kind of like a straight shot, straight viewpoint between people walking and people trying to bathe. So as you'll see later on, we're kind of proposing a partial screening with planting so that you kind of give a little bit more privacy to pool patrons. Another thing we noticed here, although this stair is not in bad condition, we're really trying to improve our ADA accessibility throughout the city. So this is something that we would actually want to remove and replace with, and you'll see in the final design, with an ADA ramp going all the way along here. So it would really be a flush and at grade connection throughout from the upper pool deck to the lower pool deck. And then we have these sort of strange remnant concrete structures which come from when it was originally built, which don't really serve a purpose and kind of create an obstruction. There's a little planted area which has range fence also falling apart. And then this view on the right is from this M&O yard, which is used for parks vehicles and which would be used in the future for an outdoor filter plant, because per DOH regulations, we're separating filter plant systems. So this is kind of like an analysis showing what I was just describing. I'll just gonna walk you through a few of them. In orange, it's really just these sort of direct lines of flow from the female changing room to the waiting pool. This purple dash circle is kind of showing you what we're calling like a dead area, like it's underutilized. We want to keep where you have this gray dashed open for M&O vehicles to go through. And then another thing we noticed here, and I didn't mention it, was in this orange circle, is this really like open space, which really could do with some more shade, particularly when we have really hot summer days or even hot fall days like today. And in red, it's kind of showing you, all along the sidewalk on Amsterdam Ave, having, these sort of maybe unwanted views from the street level. And just as a reminder, obviously, all our pools inside are secure and we have staff, et cetera. So we're not trying to create, blind spots or anything, but it's really just about privacy and comfort for pool goers. A little bit of precedence for other pools we've actually been working on and completing over the last couple, I would say months, maybe a year or two. So Dry Dock, Liberty, Howard Pool. We're using this very simple and whimsical pattern of different colored concretes to kind of, it's supposed to be suggestive of a beach ball or beaches, or so it's a playful way to use very sturdy materials, and we think that would do well. It's a language we're trying to replicate a lot in our pools, and it also works well for contracting. So examples of what this two-toned concrete effect looks like. It's not really yellow, it's more like a tan, and then a really beautiful Euro blue. Trench drains around the pools, so expect a very similar treatment around sheltering arms too. So this is our proposed design. I'll walk you through a little bit of it. So really not a big change in the configuration. We're keeping the pools where they are, obviously. We're redoing the pool decks with these off-centered beach ball patterns with the tan and the blue. In this underutilized area where I have my cursor, we're thinking that having some in-ground spray showers, and I'll show you on the next slide some pictures of what it looks like. So something where you would have a hydraulic activator and really just some very small misters for children and adults to play into, which is very welcome on hot days like this. A little tiny, picnic area with some what we call them ADA chairs and picnic tables. So it basically means there's one of the chairs removed. So if you needed to be in a wheelchair or another apparatus to come in, you would be able to pull in. Along Amsterdam Avenue, creating a little line of planters, really. It's actually an in-ground planter with shrubs, which would create a little bit more privacy. And then to that point about sort of the direct flow between the female changing room and waiting pool, having an additional low fence over here, which would have several gates to allow to create a little bit of a buffer zone as well, with additional planters just for beautification. And then one thing I forgot to mention here, in both this ADA ramp, which would be replacing those yellow stairs that I was showing you earlier, so you would have a really smooth shot going down, from both levels or up. And then a new plant bed where you have this large open space where we're proposing 2 magnolia trees to provide additional shade and interest. I'll just kind of dwell on this for a second. In terms of materials, so we went over
You
the
want us to
concrete.
wait until you're finished with your presentation to ask questions, or should we interrupt you?
Yeah, let's wait until I'm almost done. So three different colors of concrete with our plain gray, blue, and gold. Fiberglass planters by the wading pool, and also in-ground planters by the main pool. A new ADA chairlift. This is what these in-ground spray showers would look like with the activator. Trench drains, ADA picnic tables, again, picture with one chair removed, so you could come in with a wheelchair. And then a replacement of the benches with our standard 1964 World's Fair bench, again with backs and arms, and in some places backless, but most of them with backs and arms. And in terms of planting, we're proposing a sweet bay magnolia, in that sort of large triangular area. And then along the property line, having rhododendron, which we think has a really beautiful color. So that's it. Yeah, I'll take any questions, and that's it. Thank you.
Heather, you want me to just go, or you want to?
Yeah.
Nicholas, are you going to put shading with those two shade trees that you're adding? Are you considering putting some seating around it? I couldn't see from your diagram now.
So along this line here, you have a continuous, I should have mentioned it, there's an existing bench in white right here. So there already is seating all along here. And we're trying to keep this open as well for circulation. So there is, I mean, there's seating, there's benches along this perimeter here, 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 and then the existing sort of bench, which actually has a little bit of a canopy between the wading pool and the main pool.
Just to focus on the trees for one more second, are they being planted at grade, or is it a raised bed, or what?
They're at grade. I mean, they're maybe 6 inches above grade.
Okay. Okay. All right. No further questions, Your Honor.
Anyone else?
I have a question. This is Karen Azar from Friends of St. Nicholas Park. You had mentioned you were going to do the plantings, the screening plantings as rhododendrons. But I did just have a little bit of a concern because they can't, I mean, young kids can put everything in their mouths, and they can be a poisonous plant to children. So I just want to make sure that that's being looked at before any plantings are finalized.
Sure. No, we would definitely not want to put anything poisonous. Having said that, a lot of plants, yeah, we can definitely, I mean, you know, it's a.
I mean, yeah, others are on from parks who can back me up on that, but I do think they tend to be toxic to children if they happen to ingest them. So it's just a concern.
Understood. We can definitely swap them out. That was, you know, kind of a placeholder.
Hi, Nicholas. My question is also about seating. Are you increasing
One
the?
second. It's one second.
It is, it's on mute.
Oh, yeah, how do you? It's must be on this control here.
I'm not sure I'm following.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you.
We can hear you, Yutha.
Go ahead.
Okay, one second, Annette is speaking. So everyone, please raise your hand and I'll call on you, or Annette will.
Hi, Nicholas. It's Annette Robinson. How are you? I have a question about the side on 126th Street. There's a handle right next to the pool. Now, you mentioned putting something up that will kind of obscure the direct view on Amsterdam. Are you going to do that same thing on the side of the handball courts? Because that's a direct view as well.
That was so, yeah, look right at the bottom of this plan, kind of like where you have this bench. So yeah, you have the handball court. That wasn't brought up before. I mean, I can look into it if you think that's, an issue, like for people in the handball court.
We're going to obscure Amsterdam, you could as well do the same with the handball court as well, because there are adults in there playing handball.
Yeah. I mean, we can look into adding, maybe some shrubs along this line, but I also want to be mindful of, again, circulation around the pool tub. We're kind of creating a little bit of, we wouldn't want to be creating some pinch points for circulation. And one thing I would kind of mention too, the difference of the handball court is the fencing gauge is actually smaller. I mean, the opening between the chain link is actually a different opening that you would have. But having said that, if that's a concern, we can definitely look into additional kind of screening down there.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Liz.
I guess that's why I was muted, is echoing.
No, I don't think you
Go
have to
ahead,
unmute.
Liz.
Yeah, I think you can just use that.
My question was about seating, and if are you increasing the number of seats?
In the absolute, I think it's 1-to-1. So wherever you have, let's actually see. We have 9. So we're removing one bench, but we're also creating the space over here where you'll have chaise lounges that'll be installed, seasonally during the summer too. And actually we're actually adding one bench total, because we're 1, 2, 3 here along this property line near the spray showers, which didn't currently exist. We're keeping this bench over here, and then the total quantity of benches remains the same. And as I'm mentioning, we're kind of opening the space which previously had backless benches to be able to have chaise lounges, or Adirondack chairs, whatever we have on hand, installed here along the pool. And sorry, just to mention also the picnic tables, more seating.
Good, thank you.
I have a question. It's April. Can you hear me up there?
Yep.
Okay. I have a question about the open areas. Did you say that there will only be misters and in-ground spray showers in one area, or everywhere that y'all have designated underutilized?
Just this one area over here. I don't know if you can see the plan, but where you have a sort of blue semicircle surrounded by brown, and you have like 4 little dots with dashed areas. That's the area we're looking at with this mister. So it's still contained. So, you don't have to be in the mister if you don't want to. That's really the only area.
Okay. And apologies, I arrived late. What's the timeline on this, and how long will it be closed?
So it would happen off season. We're not entirely sure when we would get to this one yet. We're hoping this year, so we're hoping this spring, but if not, it would be next fall. So it definitely, not during pool season. I just want to stress that. We're not closing down pools during the summer. We're not closing down pools for this reason during the summer.
And are the walkways, friendly for, activity? I'm trying to think, is there any special material used to kind of help in terms of the flexibility or whatever, of people walking or playing?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the beginning of your question. Do you think you could repeat?
Wondering about the materials that are used along the walkways. Do they give at all in terms of, or is it just...
in terms of, no, it's concrete. I mean, it's very well finished concrete. It's very high quality concrete, but it's sidewalk material, and that is a standard in New York City outdoor parks.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Heather, I raised my hand again. It's Liz. Did I miss, is there a schedule will the pool be down for a summer?
No, we will not be closing the pool during the summer. The schedule, like we would like to get here next spring, but we wouldn't, the work would not coincide with the pool season.
Great.
Is there an approximate amount of time in weeks as to how long it will take altogether?
You mean in construction? We're looking at, it could vary obviously for a variety of reasons, the weather being one of them, and that could be good or bad. We're looking at, 8 to 12 weeks, but again, for some pools, it's been 16, for some pools, it's been 10.
Okay, and I guess the overall budget was that at the beginning of the
Sorry, what's that last part? The overall budget?
capital?
The overall budget is 1.8 million.
Okay, great. If there are no other questions, then thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Stop sharing. Stop sharing this.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. And so they will go ahead with the rest of the, we'll put the agenda back up quickly.
Yeah, this is Karen Asner. I had emailed you. Unfortunately, I have to jump off at 7:15 for another meeting. Could I just, I hate to go out of order, but can I just give my really quick update for St. Nicholas Park now?
Go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, so just wanted to mention a few things. We have a cleanup on this Saturday from 11 to 1. We always do it same place for our meetup, which is in the 135th Street Plaza. And then on Saturday as well, we have an event that is in the park from 6 to 7 p.m. It's called the Carpet Series. It's a series by Gabriella Lamb, and it's a dance program. So that's, of course, free to everyone, and that's going to be in the plaza with seating on the James Baldwin lawn. So we want to invite everybody out for that, and we'll be doing some social media promotion of that as well. And then we are continuing our yoga series on Tuesdays from 6:30 to 7:30 on the James Baldwin lawn. And that's in conjunction with our partner, the Harlem Wellness Center. And that's been going very well. I wanted to also mention adjacent to the park, and I see that Judy Desire is on the call as well, but we have a farmer's market that is being run by Uptown Good Food. And that is on Thursdays from 4 to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 to 3. And those go to like the end of October and early November. And then finally, we had a really great event to unveil in conjunction with NYC Parks and Project Blackboard, a new basketball court mural by Neri Ward. We had a day-long series of events, and we had a really tremendous turnout and a lot of fun energy on July 22nd for that. So we're really excited. So if you get a chance to go take a look at that mural, it's really powerful, and read about the story behind it. It's really, really special to have in the park. So that's it. That's my update if anybody has questions. But otherwise, we hope to see you this weekend.
Okay, does anyone have questions for Karen Asner, Friends of St. Nicholas Park?
Get over here.
Oh, and let me just mention that the actual farmer's market is at St. Nicholas Avenue and 137th Street. I think I didn't mention that.
Is it okay to clarify the Uptown Good Food information?
Go ahead, Judy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hi, this is Judy Desiree, founder of Town Good Food. And we have two farm programs. One is on Thursdays from 4 to 7 p.m. That's in front of St. Nicholas Miracle Garden, located on St. Nicholas Avenue on 127th Street. It's a farm stand and community supported agricultural structure at a Green Thumb community garden. That's Thursday. That ends on October 26th. Then we have this year for the first time the farmers market called Uptown Good Food Farmers Market. That is Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That ends on November 11th. And both program, and that is in front of St. Nicholas Avenue and 137th Street. I just also wanted to announce that last week, a DOT approved the parking permit for the farmers market, which means in front of St. Nicholas Park, you have from 137 to 138 is reserved parking for the farmers and vendors from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. That was approved by DOT. So I also want to make that announcement that's happening in front of St. Nicholas Miracle Garden. That program, although the sign says ends in November 30, we officially at the farmers market ends on November 11th, but next year will end closer to the end of November, which is why the sign says November 30th. So I just wanted to make that announcement. And if anyone has any questions.
Can you please put that information in the chat?
Yes, I can. I can put I put the farmers market. I put the website, but I also put the handle. We're on Instagram and Facebook as Uptown Good Food. But I will add all of this online. Any questions for me? And we also do accept SNAP, all the nutritional benefit programs except WIC, but we do take the farmers market nutritional benefit programs, WIC voucher, and senior discount voucher.
And please also put your email in the chat.
I can do that, yes.
So Mallory Craig, are you here? We're going to follow the agenda. So please, people try not to speak out of turn.
Yes, hi, thank you. Hi there, Mallory from the greenhouse from the Jenny Farrell Riverbank State Park with the Hort. We had a great summer partnering with Riverbank State Park. We had a couple different community-based organizations come and do rotations with their summer camp. We also, of course, hosted the summer camp from Jenny Farrell Riverbank State Park. And we continued our public programs. Our public programs start again on September 21st, but until then, the greenhouse is open every day. Our learning garden is very abundant right now and ready to be harvested. So I invite you all to come swing by if you haven't been yet, just to come check us out and see what's going on, do a little harvesting, and then we'll launch our public programming, which will be cooking classes on Tuesdays, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We'll be doing Wednesday evenings, recipes and rituals for community care, talking about things like herbal healing, some body and yoga, lots of wellness activities, all about keeping ourselves and our community well. We've got some fun lineups with facilitators to do affirmations and to think about holistic wellness. On Thursdays, it's going to be our art day. We'll have 2 classes in our evening, 5 o'clock and 6:30, to be thinking about art in the garden and enjoying the abundance that is fall. And then on Saturdays, we have family gardening. So that pretty much happens, come by anytime. Our family gardening, we have educators to kind of lead how-to gardening for the kiddos in the mornings from 10:30 to 12, but please do feel free to drop by anytime. We're open from pretty much 10 to 5, 7 days a week. Something new this summer, which was really exciting, was the launch of our new program, Gay in the Garden. thinking about Pride events in the garden, and that's happening the first and third Sundays of every month. Again, our fall programming, public programming really launches on the 21st of September. But until then, again, come by and grab a postcard and see what we're up to and just do a little tour, walkthrough of the space. We've got lots to harvest and we can share about what we're up to. And in the meantime, yeah, please direct folks, schools. I know they're getting settled in right now, but eventually any school teachers who might be looking for a field trip for CB9, we're able to offer tons of free field trips. And we have a whole selection that you can find on Explorable Places. And we also have our youth program, which we'll be launching more details about for young people who are high school aged. So lots going on. I invite you to come through, and if you have any questions, I can drop my email in the chat. And we also, I'm hearing so many great things that folks are doing. I'll also share that we have an open call for facilitators. So if any of your work has to do with you know, gardening and healing and nature and art, I invite you to reach out to me and see if you'd like to be a good fit for some of our facilitator open call. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
And Mallory, because there are a lot of new people on the call, if you can just describe exactly where the community garden is located in case people don't know.
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. So actually, I'm very excited to announce that we are just as easy as we used to be able to be found since the track just opened. So Leslie has been sharing all the updates that happened. I think she mentioned that the track finally opened. So she mentioned the swimming pool being closed for the week for maintenance, but if you go you know, through the bus depot, through the cultural center, through the double doors, just past the skating rink, we're kind of left to the skating rink. And then we're also right next to the track, and that's right across from the swimming pools there. So on the side closer to the highway, further away from the Hudson.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
New York City Parks, and I guess Wesley, are you going to handle that, I think, tonight? New York City Parks, and as well as the Riverside Park and West Harlem Park, Pierce Park?
Yeah, sure. Unfortunately, Matt can't make it tonight, but he left me a few notes I'd be happy to share with for his area of Community Board 9. And then I don't have much for Riverside, but a few things, and I'll be happy to go over a few things for that and answer any questions that anybody might have at the end. But hopefully everybody can hear me, and it's been still a hot summer. We've been really busy at Parks Department, but as I said, I'll give Matt, unfortunately can't make it, but he gave me a few notes, and they go as such. Jacob's Shift Playground, the capital project sounds like it's completed, or the seating area and the center patios have been opened. There was new benches, lighting, and drinking fountains installed in the area. So we encourage everyone to go out there and visit that new park. It's gonna look beautiful. It's gonna be all brand new there. So that's back open to the public and for use for everyone. Also, he wanted to mention that 2 basketball courts where the sports coating was restored and improved upon at St. Nicholas, at the basketball courts at 129th Street and also at 134th Street. And they were able to do that with the help of Project Backboard. So if you play basketball, it's probably the best place to play right now because it's got a brand new sports coating. And we hope everybody in the community enjoys that. Annunciation track and field is still under construction, but it's expected to be completed by the end of the fall. And a couple of things that I believe Matt said to your office as well, if folks are interested, it's just outside of 9, but there's some movies under the stars at Jackie Robinson. And then also to mention that we have Family Fun Day at Frederick Douglass Park. So if you can get out to those spots and have a nice evening, hopefully it won't be quite as hot as it is tonight. And hopefully we get some real fall temperatures and you can have a good time there at those parks. So that's it for 9. I don't know if you have any questions or if I'd be able to answer your questions for 9s. I don't know all the details, but maybe we'll circle back to that. And like I said, I'm very brief for Riverside, just for the small section there. But and then if there's any questions for both, I'll try to answer both. So at Riverside, no major real news. The one event that we do have that's just outside of this community board is the 9/11 ceremonies will be occurring on Monday. And so we encourage anyone to go out there for that 9/11 event. And also, if you commute through the area of Riverside Drive from anywhere from probably 105 down to 96, there may be heavy congestion. So you might want to avoid that area if you don't want to attend. If you do want to attend, we'd love to have you down there for a 9/11 ceremony. So that's the updates for Riverside and CB9 parks. And like I say, if any questions, I'll try to address them.
Liz, I see your hand raised. Go ahead, Liz.
Thanks, Heather. Hi, Wesley. So my question is about the something called micro mobility pilot program.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I found out about it at some point in July, and it was news to me. And to the best of my memory, and I've been on this committee for a while, I don't remember Parks ever coming to our community board to make us aware of a pilot program.
It's a good thing. I'm not very familiar with it myself. I'd have to look into it and try to get back to you. But if there's anybody on the call, Steve, if you're familiar with it, or
Well, I don't believe it involves anything in the Board 9 area. There was a proposal to have a site on the east side, which I believe has now been is not being pursued. So I don't I'm not aware that it affects any of your parks.
I thought that the program was to allow electric bikes and electric scooters on the greenways and park drives for
That's
you.
right. Yeah, that's a
So that does go through our
yes,
community.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I take it back. Yes, that involves the yeah, that's a pilot program that's going into effect on the greenways. Yes.
So where is the community notification, outreach, conversation, anything?
Well, I think this is a policy that came down maybe during the summer recess, and so I don't know that there was an opportunity provided for any input at this point. It's I think it's being considered a demonstration project, and in fact we're accepting input from the public right now as to how the public is responding to it.
I mean, I think that's pretty bad policy if you want to change the laws and then after the fact ask people what we thought of it. It's in my mind completely unacceptable that Parks did not go to the community boards to ask us or tell us that this pilot program was even being considered.
Well,
I don't mean to take it out on you, but I think this is a problem because Community Board 9 now has another pilot program that's being brought to us with the Department of Sanitation, and the amount of collaboration with that agency has been less than anyone was hoping for. So I would like to make a suggestion to our co-chairs of this committee that we request Parks present on this during the October meeting, and that we consider outreach to the other community boards where this pilot program is going through their districts to find out what they're saying and what they're feeling about this pilot program.
Steve, are you still on?
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't seem to be something directed towards, that's a suggestion for the community board, to follow up on, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, that's to Annette and Heather. And I'm just putting the pilot program announcement page of the Parks Department website that I found. I don't know if that's the accurate one, because again, there was no notification to the community board about this pilot program.
Will you be able to find someone who might be able to give us a presentation on that next month, Steve?
Yeah, yeah, let me look into that.
Okay, we'll email back and forth, and again, were there any other, and Steve, while we have you on, is Nora on, or are you still on, Nora? Is anyone on from Edgecombe Community Garden?
Yes. Nora's here and Nina Tally.
Okay, so and now would be your opportunity while we still have Steve Simon on the line to bring up your concern.
Nora, do you want to start?
So we have been the stewards of 2 green thumb gardens on Edgecombe Avenue for over 25 years. One is Edgecombe Avenue Garden Park Sanctuary, and the other is Sugar Hill Garden Park. It's been over a year now that we have experienced, well, let me just say, we were locked out of our garden. Our license was not renewed. We were locked out of the garden, Sugar Hill Garden, and we still have not received our license for Edgecombe Avenue Garden Park Sanctuary. The process by which this happened has been over a year. It was done in a very disrespectful and demeaning way. Nothing was done to support us. It's a lot of detail, actually too much for this setting. We have appealed to be heard in some platform where we could be mediated and our side could be heard, and that hasn't happened. In the meantime, our regional coordinator and his supervisor have taken over the garden, given it to other people. And Nina, I'll let you pick it up from there.
Hi, Nina Tally. Basically, the easiest way I can present is that we were basically told that we no longer fit the dynamics of the community and that we need to be replaced. Our coordinator has been adamant about wanting to have a broader spectrum of the community representative, which we have been more than fine to do so, and have always been open and been able to present to anybody a welcome mat to join the garden. But he feels that it's a different dynamic that he wants to see, and that we can't represent that to his, basically to his liking. So we haven't gotten any, as Nora said, we haven't gotten any support in terms of problems with rodents, problems with trash, problems with construction. We had to work on our own to get new fencing for Sugar Hill, as well as finally obtain a shed after 20-something years. And once the shed and the fence was put in, then there was an animate push to really have us removed. we presented our bylaws and we were told that our bylaws missed a date of 10 days, but prior to that, he had already picked out a steward replacement group. Then he wanted us to compete with that group to present our bylaws. Our bylaws were then accepted, but we still received notification that our license would not be renewed, and that not only were we being removed as the managers, but our members were not going to be allowed to participate at all anymore. And I've reached out to Carlos Martinez as well as Isaac Mendez and Alex Munoz as well. And I've also reached out to Heather because we were told that this was all being done with the approval and the understanding of the community board.
And our city council person.
And yes,
and I will also add that
council.
throughout this process, even though it started early last season, at the end of 22, we were told that the bylaws we turned in 2019 needed to be revised. We have been held to a standard that Green Thumb has not held itself to a standard. We have been held to deadlines without any support throughout this process. We received violations. We worked very hard. We fixed our violations, and we were told that they were still not good enough. And that was a matter of opinion. There was no discussion. There were no one came and went point to point to see that, yes, this is done and this is done. So it's been a messy, very underhanded process in a lot of ways. And we just felt like our regional coordinator was just running renegade because nobody else seemed to know what was happening and that this was happening. In the meantime, our community is still thanking us for keeping a beautiful green space. And our regional coordinator keeps saying that we do not fit the bill. We have not met the standards. And that's where we are.
And I would like to point out and add to that is that since the garden has been removed from our steward management, it has not held up the regulations. In other words, the hours of operations have not occurred. The garden is supposed to be open on Saturday and Sundays. It has not been open. It's been open literally less than the required 20 hours a week. People have not had access to it, people who are interested in the garden. And I personally don't feel comfortable going in the garden because of a verbal assault that I was placed under in July with a steward from another garden who basically verbally assaulted me. And it wasn't addressed by the people that I informed. And he's constantly on site as a co-manager, so I don't feel comfortable going in the garden because this person was vulgar and extremely violent verbally, and I just can't be in that type of environment when a garden is supposed to be supportive of the community.
So, Steve, can you shed any light on how the, on this, are you familiar with this particular garden area, or is there someone that can, from the Parks Department, who can kind of work through these issues to help them get back on track?
Well, this is normally not something I deal with because it falls under the falls under our Green Thumb program, and the community gardens are basically overseen by Green Thumb, and you know, which is affiliated with the Parks Department, but it's not something that that is really within the borough office. So I would have to talk to the people there to get an understanding of what happened. Are you saying that you've, first of all, Nora, what is your last name?
Cole, Cole.
Gentlemen, glad to be back.
Let's not say this isn't serious. This is right. Let's see what this is like.
Hello?
Yeah. Did you hear me?
Yeah, Cole, Cole.
Yes, uh-huh.
Yeah. I believe we've met before, no?
Yes, you
uh,
actually came to the garden in question
Right.
when we were doing the participatory budget,
Right.
participating in that.
Right.
And although we didn't get it to be such a small organization, we did rank in the finals, but we lost to much huger concerns.
Yeah, but didn't we also help you get some material while we were doing the renovation at Jackie Robinson Park? Wasn't there some?
We took the discarded
Right.
wrought iron tree guards.
Yes, yeah, right, yeah.
I have not yet raised money to have them restored and use them for it to be placed in front of our gardens, but we still have the raw material. Yes.
Right. And so that garden is which one is which now? The one we're talking about right now is the
It's the smaller garden, that you can see through at street level.
Right. And what's the name of that one?
Sugar Hill Garden Park.
Okay, and that's the one that's in the middle of the block.
Yes.
And the Edgecombe Avenue Sanctuary Garden?
The gardens are separated by one building.
Right, but the Edgecombe Avenue one is the one on the corner, is that correct?
It's not on a corner,
No?
but it's the building. There's a building on the corner of 150th and Edgecombe, and the next lot in is Edgecombe Avenue Garden Park Sanctuary, which is a much bigger lot and has a steep grade in front of it, so you cannot see into the back of the garden to see how large it is.
Yeah, that one may be the one that that currently has some kind of a structural issue with a retaining wall.
Yes.
That I believe we're dealing with the adjacent property.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your group is no longer involved. The Green Thumb is asking that you not be involved with either one of them.
Green Thumb has locked us out of the smaller garden and taken it away from us, and they have yet to renew our license for Edgecombe Avenue Garden Park.
All right, because somebody I think is giving us access to it in order for us to inspect that retaining wall, I believe.
Well, we are still active in it. We just don't have an active license. And we were told kind of cavalierly that it was being upheld because they think that we are running I'm sorry, I can't remember the exact words, but something to the effect of that we were being inclusive, which is just kind of ludicrous. But what we would like is a platform to mediate, because emails have gone out that don't represent correctly what has happened and what has happened to us and the process that took place and the tactics that were taken to make this process happen. I mean, since our regional coordinator took over the garden, there's been lots of support. There's been a park truck there every Saturday with dirt and supplies and a work program. And they didn't do any of that in support of us in order to get the garden back in shape. We were coming out of a pandemic, as the rest of Manhattan. We had a horrible rat problem in that garden, and it still exists, not as bad, but it could not operate.
All right, well, as I mentioned, I really need to talk to the people at Green Thumb because I was unaware of any of what you have described, anything that took place between you and the people at Green Thumb. So I'm at a loss to really respond to what you're telling me today.
Well, because we have not had any response from the leadership of Green Thumb, not just our, because we don't think that we think our regional coordinator just run Renegade. So that is why we are appealing over and above Green Thumb. And if there is an appeal to Green Thumb, it should include us.
Right.
That is what we are asking.
All right, well, let me find out what kind of process there might be to enable you to appeal.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And can I get a volunteer?
Hey, Heather, it's Shannon. I don't mean to jump in, but I'd like to introduce myself to Miss Nora and Miss Nina. My name's Shannon Richards. I'm with the 142nd Street Dog Run on Riverside Drive and 142nd. We fall under the authority of.
Shannon, can you just hold up for a
Yes.
second, please?
Sure.
Just 1 second. I need to get a volunteer from the community board to help assist in this matter.
That's what I was hoping to do, but it sounds like you need somebody from the community board itself. So,
Yeah, Shannon, you can assist, but we need a representative from the community board. Okay, Annette has volunteered to help intervene.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Shannon.
So I just wanted to, Miss Nora and Miss Nina's story is very disturbing to me, and I'd like to help. So I'm offering my assistance to Community Board 9, to the Landmark Preservations and Parks Subcommittee, who's been very supportive of me and the organizations I've been affiliated with in the past. I am presently out of the city, but I will be back in the city next week. My contact information is in the chat. Yeah, I'm not happy with the version of your story that I'm hearing, and I have no reason to question it, but I'd love to take a closer look along with it with you and start rattling some cages. Mr. Simon's been
Well, we
extraordinary help
are looking for help in every form.
So I think I have no doubt that Steve will be helpful in figuring out where in this Green Fund program we might be able to contact and seeing some assistance. And I'm sure Steve needs some time to do that. But I'd like to meet with you ladies and talk further about how we can get some attention to your concerns. I'm not liking how this is playing out.
Thank you.
We are totally accepting of your.
Heather, I don't want to go rogue on the community board rep.
We're at a loss.
So I'm happy to coordinate, my contact with them in addition to the community board 9. But
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. And has been very helpful over several years with helping us out on quite a number of issues on the community board. And I hope you should become a public member, Shannon. I keep asking you. Okay, we're going to move the agenda forward. Thank you, Nora. Just make sure that you all have your contact information in the chat.
Yes,
So
thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, my contact, ladies, my contact's somewhere in the chat thread. Feel free to
chat.
call me direct. I'm pretty sure that telephone number's there. I'll add it again.
We definitely would do that.
Stephanie, are you still on? Did you speak already?
I'm still on. Hi, everyone. I can go quickly. I do have a couple of things, but hello, my name is Stephanie Ashley Kavan, she, her. I am the North Park Outreach Coordinator for Riverside Park. So thank you, Wesley, for sharing updates. Shannon, as you share your contact with Nina and Nora, also might be good to share about Jenny's Garden. We do have our own community garden that's also protected under Green Thumb on 138th Street. So Nora and Nina, I'll also send you my contact as well, just to get just to come with like our insight of our own community garden that's under Green Thumb as well, to see if we can provide any support. And just to go rather quickly, sorry. We ended our teen core this year. It was an amazing event. It was an amazing 8-week paid internship for teens in Community Board 9. We had 17 youth with us for the past 8 weeks. It has taken up about 80% of my workload. And they were really amazing with completing restoration projects in the northern parts of the park. specifically near 10 Mile, Fort Washington, and Jenny's Garden on 138th. So really great to have them do restoration projects as well as focus on soil science and soil health and environmental racism and Robert Moses. And it was such an amazing curriculum that we had this year. And now that it is over as of last week, I now have so much more time to do outreach and volunteer recruitment for North Park. So if anybody has any events that I can table at or any organizations that want to get involved in gardening, horticulture, any sort of environmental work, reach out. I'll put my info in the chat. Goats. We have goats on 120th Street and Riverside Drive right now. There are 7 of them. You can only see them for the next couple of weeks because our final goat send-off event is going to be, I think it's a Thursday, September 21st. I don't know the exact times. We're still working that out. It's definitely going to be in the afternoon, but you can come and say goodbye to the goats. There are 7 of them on September 21st. Really excited that they have completed their summer internship with us of eating, hopefully, as much poison ivy as possible. This past last week, I think it was last week, actually, we did a climate ready uptown plan with We Act for Environmental Justice. And it was an amazing opportunity to invite community members into Riverside Park and talk about what to do in extreme heat and flooding disasters. And I think it was pretty appropriate, especially now that we're in a heat wave this week, of what cooling centers are or what resources people have. So it was really great to host that workshop. If anybody is interested in emergency preparedness, please send me a chat because they do, We Act for Environmental Justice does have a virtual workshop that they can share with the community that's coming up about what to do in extreme heat and natural disasters and how to be prepared for those emergencies. Summer on the Hudson is still doing their free public programming all throughout the park. We especially have a lot of events happening in West Harlem Piers, but wanted to highlight yoga every Thursday on the 145th Street lawn. You can get there easily through the 145th Street entrance of Riverbank, which is an entirely different park. It's a lovely park. I love Riverbank, but you can get through there, 145th Street entrance, Riverbank, and then you go down the stairs to get to Riverside Park. Once you see the water, you are all set. But it's really, really wonderful. Thursdays at 6:30 on 145th Street lawn, yoga, which is amazing. And then lastly, we have an International Coastal Cleanup on September 16th, which is a Saturday. It starts at 10 a.m. That's going to be at the 10 Mile bathrooms near 148th Street on the waterfront. So you can enter through the 148th Street tunnel. Sorry, not tunnel, staircase. And then there's a little bit of a tunnel and then you just walk right on there and we'll be collecting all the bottle caps you can find. You get a prize for the most bottle caps. Probably not, but I'm sure I can make up a prize. So that's on September 16th from 10 to 12. And if I spoke really quickly, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know now or message me in the chat. I'm going to put my information in the chat right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And is Brett Taylor on? I didn't see him on today. Okay. And Phil has been very patient at Hungarian Pastry Shop. He's here in person. So let's see your presentation. Let me see if I can pull it up on the screen for you.
Wasn't sure how many people were in person, so we also have. Beautiful. Glossy.
Ooh.
So pretty.
I have to do that.
That would be fun. How many times do we do this? Hopefully only once.
Yeah.
So,
Since the revisions are quite minimal, we just flipped a couple of slides. My name is Evie, I'm the architect for the project, by the way.
Oh, cool.
I'm here with Phil today, but don't worry about going with the old version. We might have to ask you to go forward and then backwards. That's the worst thing that can happen.
Let's see. It came up a little smaller than, but let's see if I can.
good.
See if this will help.
If you go with the, this is a double arrow next to the wheels. See this one? That should make it full screen for you. Nice. Oh, there goes the zoom.
Again, how do I change the page? All right. Can everyone see the screen? Okay. And I'll do my best. Just tell me when to page are wrong. You all can go ahead and introduce yourself. I didn't realize that you were the architect. Okay, sorry. Introduce yourself, sorry.
Can everybody hear us? We're kind of at the back of the room.
And you can walk up to the screen if you want, so you can kind of point things out to us.
Okay,
Because you're
sure.
not the one,
I don't know about anybody else online, but I can barely hear.
so maybe walk up to
Sure.
the,
Little stand.
yeah.
Dan, I think they're just sorting themselves out.
Dan, can you hear us?
Loud and clear, Philip.
We're better positioned.
And again, we do not have a quorum. I was hoping you were one of our new members, but you're not. And my apology, we've been in contact, we sent many emails out that members are required to be in person in order for us to have a quorum, in order to take a vote on your project, but no worries.
We're just happy to have the opportunity.
Yeah, but what I will do is I'll bring this up at the executive committee meeting next week.
Okay.
And have, whatever decisions are made at that point to make sure that we get you, to the general board meeting.
Wonderful.
So that we can make sure that we don't delay your time in terms of getting before the Landmarks Preservation Commission.
I appreciate it.
Because this requires a vote. This is why members need to show up. This is why we're on the board. We're supposed to look out for our neighbors and our small business owners in the community.
Like I said, we're grateful for the opportunity. We're happy to be here. There's a lot of coordinating, and I probably spammed your email box all
You were
summer
fine. No.
to make sure that we had an opportunity today. Because yes, we are hoping to get through the Landmarks committee this fall, so that we can schedule this for a winter construction project. So this is the first step, and we're glad to be taking it. So the pastry shop, the Hungarian, I'm Philip and yours. My family has owned the Hungarian pastry shop since 1976. My dad bought it with two partners. Pastry shop has been at the same location at 1030 Amsterdam since 1961. It was originally opened by a Hungarian immigrant couple. My dad is Greek. His two partners were Greek. They bought it. My dad first came to the neighborhood working at the Symposium restaurant, which is on 113th Street. And he and the then owner of the Symposium restaurant, Yanni Poznikov, and a third partner, Theodore Magos, bought the pastry shop and what was next door to it. And many older residents of the neighborhood might remember the Green Tree Cafe. So I don't know if anybody remembers that restaurant, but it was also on the corner and happened to be Hungarian as well. I took over the pastry shop in 2012. My dad retired. As I mentioned, he was partnered with Yanni Poznikov, who was the original owner of the Symposium on 113th. They opened that in 1969. His artwork has been an integral part of the experience of both the pastry shop and the Symposium since they were opened. If you're looking at this image that we have up on the screen right now, the storefront artwork was hand painted by Yanni in 2009. Just one of many iterations of the storefront and internal architecture artwork that he provided for the shop over many, many years. He unfortunately passed away 2 years ago. He'd been living in Greece. He's no longer available to do original artwork for the storefront for the Hungarian pastry shop. And that is a tragedy, but we've, in our design for a rebuilding of the storefront, we've been very, very much interested in trying to honor his legacy and the legacy of his artwork, both out of an emotional attachment that I and my family have to it, as well as an emotional attachment that we think the community and the neighborhood has to it, as it's been adorning the walls of this pastry shop for so many years. So that's a little bit about the background and the history of the shop and what we're looking at. And I'm going to ask Evie to talk a little bit more about the existing conditions of the space and how we are proposing to improve them.
So hi everyone, my name is Evie Diamantopoulou of Diamantopoulou Cove Architecture, and I'm the applicant and the architect for this project. I think Philip put it quite beautifully in terms of what the ask has been on our dock, working on the project with him. I realized we started working on this in August of 2021, so we're at 2 years and 1 month. We've taken it very seriously. It's a passion project. It's not a fast remodel. It's like it's something that Philip has taken with a lot of care, taken on with a lot of care, and we've done the same with him. So we're in a building that is not a designated landmark, but of course we're across from St. John the Divine, and we're at the very edge of the historic landmark district. So you'll see we're right on the intersection of 111.
Yeah, they're right where that arrow, that black arrow is. If you can just bring your cursor down, that's the location and the proximity to the historic preservation district.
So with that in mind, we can go one slide forward and look at the building itself, which I wanted to quote from the designation report. It is characteristic of the Renaissance Revival style. Its tripart facade features a rusticated limestone base with horizontal limestone banding at the transitional second story and attic, molded silk courses, a two-bay entrance.
Could the architect speak closer to the mic? I'm sorry, I just can't hear her.
Absolutely. I'm also a very soft-speaking person, so that's a news for us. Is this a little better?
You know, I think where Philip is standing, I can hear clearly. Maybe I'm the only person, and I'm sorry. If everybody else can hear you clearly, then maybe it's just me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a pest. Philip, I love it. I saw the designs. It looks great. I mean, if I could vote in advance, I would already say approved, but I'll let the designer do her thing.
I'll still try to convince you
Perfect.
again.
Oh, I can hear you so clearly now.
That's great. No, thanks for jumping in, because it's a shame to not have people in the community hear us. So I was quoting from the designation report to.
You can take a chair and sit over there.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, we'll see.
Thanks everybody for your patience. I know it's also almost 8, and I'm so aware that you're all here waiting to listen, but we're jumping around.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. So all to say, I'm happy to cite the report or share it in writing with anyone who's interested, but essentially all major alterations that have happened on the Amsterdam side, not the 111 side, and they're all pertinent to sort of commercial storefronts going in and out, as commercial storefronts tend to have to be. So as it's
Except ours.
Except the future of ours. Well, ours is not quite Victorian, is
Right.
the case in point. We're not quite within the period of significance, but we're located between where the big arrows are, 1030 Amsterdam, in what was previously a light court that was infilled at some moment in history, and the right-hand side of that, where the Hungarian historically has been, as Philip described quite nicely. So if you go to the next slide, we can see sort of what the report describes. That's it's a rather vibrant and alive commercial street at this point. And what we're seeing is the existing condition. If you go one more slide forward, please. We'll see some of the history of the Hungarian that was also described back from the sort of pastry shop with a neighbor to the tax lot and historical photographs. I hope everybody knows, we can go one more slide forward, knows and loves the Hungarian. It's been our experience that, you know, we see it in popular press and media. And so we had this most amazing day of being there with Philip and measuring the facade and being approached by everyone saying, don't take the paintings away. This is so important to us. Don't do a new coffee shop here. The Hungarian sort of really belongs to the neighborhood. And with that in mind, we started looking very carefully, both at everybody and Philip's request to not change anything, but also to change everything, because right now, if you go one slide forward, the storefront itself doesn't quite perform. There's a lot of acrylic infill that's impossible to heat. You'll see most of what's shown as glass is actually plastic. The paintings themselves are kind of peeling away and subject to the elements. And if you go one more slide forward, you can see a lot of these conditions up close. So we wanted to imagine a future for the Hungarian that addresses these issues and at the same time sort of allows it to perform better. Importantly, if you go one more slide forward, please, you'll see that right now the storefront is not ADA compliant. So the doors are quite narrow and the push and pull distances are not to contemporary ADA code. So we've taken that into account as well. And in our proposal, that is one more slide forward.
Thank you.
I am so sorry to keep sliding you. And in our proposal, we look to really maintain what's there in the way it's designed, looking carefully at sort of ironing out some of the alignments, pulling up the existing gates, keeping the awning in place, and one step forward. Most importantly, if you do next, please. We've looked to maintain the majority of the facade that has been the artwork, Yanis's work, and the identity of the space in place. So everything that's blue on the right-hand side is original paintings today. And if you do one next, everything that's blue in our proposed drawings remains sort of interpretations of Yanis's paintings in the new storefronts that we're proposing. How we do that is a process we invented together or devised together with Philip over the last year of carefully scanning what portions of the paintings are currently intact, translating those into a digital file, and then interpreting them through a mosaic of 18 different types of glass tiles. In a way, it felt to us like we can't really cheat the art, so we can't make it look fake. We don't want it to be a reproduction. We don't want it to feel like artwork on a bus, but we really wanted to feel integral to the architecture and properly embedded into what's there. So with that process in mind, we worked together as a team. You can go one slide forward to find there's a moment of a kiss. There's a couple of moments on the artwork that felt more emblematic of the space, and isolated those, kind of scaled them appropriately to the facade and identified what we felt like was a fitting palette to read the artwork in an architectural way. So you see here some of the process drawings or some consecutive zoom-ins of extracting art and translating it into these tiles. And on the next slide, you'll see it embedded into the, this is maybe closer to a one-to-one scale of what this will look like. So each little tile is 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. And on the next slide, you'll see it from a distance. So we expect this to look like the paintings, but also the more you approach it, like an abstraction of the paintings. The rest of the storefront is quite straightforward. We're keeping aluminum, natural looking, very much like the existing storefront frames in place. We add a series of operable windows so they can get natural ventilation into the space. And we flatten the doors to achieve the 36-inch clearance and our 18-inch push and pull distances for ADA compliance. Really, the entirety of the project happens at the storefront. We're not touching the space at all. It's the first 6 inches of the building or so. We're pulling the 2 gates upward to make sure they align and gain this space for the operable windows. And then the red awning on top is identical to what is there today.
You can go one.
If you flip 2 forward,
Oh, 2
actually,
forward.
we'll see. I don't think we need to see anything more specific in technical drawings. This describes the plan and flattening the doors to achieve accessibility. And one forward, we'll see an image of
almost there. One more. Oh wow, there's lots of drawings.
Yeah, we brought a lot of drawings in case there were questions, but I'm trying to get us to the image, which I think communicates an atmosphere a lot more. Here we are. So this is what we anticipate this will look like. This is all of it.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a journey.
It's been a labor of love for many reasons.
Mostly because we've really wanted to make this somehow an homage to the pastry shop, to the history of the pastry shop, to the artwork and the role that the artwork has played in the pastry shop, without trying to be forcing any kind of new approximation of an original artist's work. You can't recreate an original. You can't create for an artist who's no longer alive. So the mosaic was really kind of a way to try to bring all of that together and recognize and celebrate the history of the space, the history of the place, and in a way that was respectful. So please, any questions or comments, anything?
Ideas?
You all are so well known for not changing anything about
Right.
the space for so many decades.
Right.
now. So what is the impetus, or is it
Sure.
just because things are starting to, show more wear and tear? You
Well,
just
I mean,
wanna-
entropy comes for everybody. It just decay, yeah. The current storefront does not really operate very well in terms of how would you describe it? Environmental or eco protections, right? It doesn't. It's just kind of a plexiglass, so it doesn't retain heat. It doesn't retain cold air, leaks. There's cracks. The artwork, although it's beautiful and original, is beginning to deteriorate. It's peeling off. Parts of it I've had to already remove entirely and just paint in just kind of flat colors to kind of hide the fact that the paintings are gone. Yeah, it's just not really a functional storefront any longer, or it will, as it continues to decay over the years. And I hope that this will address that and give us, many more years of functional space.
So just for clarity's purposes, you're replacing both of these doors and all of the glass around it?
That's correct. It'll be an entirely new structure. The
And the idea is to do insulated glass that retains heat well, exactly. To the high performing storefronts.
right. The pastry shop, like you said, has this aura about it of being unchanged.
Exactly.
But things have changed and updates have always been made. And you have to keep updating a space, otherwise it just falls apart. So this is just another stage in that process, but we're trying to do it extremely intentionally. So to kind of keep it within the growth and the long-term growth of the institution as opposed to redirecting or changing the institution.
Liz, go ahead with your question.
It's almost impossible to hear you, Heather. And I think I got the gist of your question, which was essentially the question that I had was what was the impetus for doing this update of the facade. It sounds like it's thermal performance, the deterioration of the artwork, circulation and airflow, ADA accessibility. Am I missing anything else?
This
You're on mute now at the community board office.
There it is. That's not working. Yeah, go ahead. Here's that, right?
We can, I mean, I think we can hear you now.
Liz, I think you summed it up well, yes.
So those are the goals. What, since this is not, it looks beautiful. You know, it's a shame that the art can't be kept in its material state and not recreated, but I understand that. So, but this is in a historic district. So what, in the historic district designation, does it describe the storefront at all? And what are landmarks concerns related to the designation and the, like, what does the designation describe of the retail spaces at these buildings?
I can read you the excerpt actually of the designation, and there is very little on, well,
Sure.
The building itself has a small appearance in the designation report of the district, given it's not a landmark itself, but I'm happy to read it to you. So quoting from the report, the building is characteristic of the Renaissance Revival style. The building's tripart facade features a rusticated limestone base, horizontal limestone banding at the transitional second story and attic, molded silk courses, a two-bay entrance surrounded with foliate decoration, incorporating a panel with incised building name, the historic metal and glass door, and a balcony with metal railing. That's all, like, end quote, that's all from 111th Street, where the primary entrance to the residential portion of the building is. Continuing with the report, it says, the arched and flat-headed fenestration is treated with an array of decoration, including multi-storied keyed surrounds with molded lintels or terracotta lintels with keystones. On the east, which is where we are, back to quote, there is a minimally articulated light court with horizontal banding at the return. Also of interest are the historic fire escapes. So everything is kind of above and around us. Then the report notes major alterations in the Amsterdam Avenue facade, where the Hungarian actually is located. Storefronts are replaced. The light court is infilled at first story with storefronts, awnings, roll down security gates, windows replaced, brick patched in light court, metal chimney with vent in light court, and leader. So essentially it only comes up as major alterations and nothing historic has remained. Along with the other 4 storefronts that are there. I think in our design, we are really trying to be respectful of, you'll see our bulkhead aligns with a limestone base at the very bottom. If you're able to arrow here to the top of the solid part of the facade. So we're trying to continue this framing and return. But otherwise, there is, we're trying to be inoffensive, quiet, kind of belong in the neighborhood as much as we can.
I can tell you're trying to be very sympathetic and with a very delicate and beloved store. So that's really hard. And the building it's a landmark, regardless of whether it's an individual landmark or in a district. They're treated exactly the same at landmarks. And these older historic districts, they're not, I mean, they're very short. Each building doesn't get very much verbiage, but no, I mean, I think I understand. I mean, that was really my question, like what were the goals of the project? But I think it's sensitive. It doesn't really, the storefront doesn't retain a bulk of historic material. I think you're replacing it for glass. I would say if there was one thing that I would nitpick over, it's the glass on the I guess the northern end of the storefront, where you have a mullion in between. Keep going to your, well, it's to my right, to the other facade. Yes, the mullion that's separating what was a large pane of glass, not the clerestory lights, not the operating ones.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those two there. If I could nitpick, I would love to see that be one big sheet of glass. But that is really the only thing that I could say could be keeping a little bit more than what's currently there, but it's not something that I would say no to this over.
Yeah.
No, really appreciate it. And it is a good suggestion, and one we tested in variations for sure as a sort of gut response.
It's probably just more expensive.
It makes the top windows feel awkward, right? Because one of Philip's asks was to be able to naturally get cross ventilation in the space with a courtyard in the back. So if you're trying to make one part operable, because right now, if you remember, they crack the door open to get air movement, which is just not a good idea ever. So if one part of it is operable, then you get the top divided into 4, but then the bottom being a big square, and it actually feels more contemporary than not between the 3 bands. But it also makes a lot of sense because it's there and we all love it and we want the big window.
Thank you.
Is the glass here different? This glass right here, it just appears.
Yeah, it's a textured opaque glass because that's where the kitchen is located. So it obscures the activity in the kitchen.
Okay, it's just opaque because of the kitchen. All right, so these are not 2 separate entrances. This is a separate entrance only to go into the kitchen.
Yeah,
part.
that's right. That's
Okay,
only
but
for
this is the-
staff and delivery.
Okay, but this
and
is
egress.
the main entrance into the facility.
Mhm.
Okay, and this is existing,
Yes.
and are you making any other improvements to is the roll gate is new, the glass is new?
The roll
lighting
gates,
is new?
the roll gates will be new installation. I mean, replacements of existing gates. There currently are 2 roll gates in place. They are going on 40 years old and they need to be replaced as well.
So they'll be the type of where you can see inside the establishment?
Currently
solid.
currently they're solid.
Okay, but they'll be replaced with not solid.
I would prefer them to be solid. Is there a reason that you prefer them to be see-through?
I don't believe Landmarks is approving solid roll gates anymore.
Okay,
In commercial storefronts.
okay,
So that will be a concern.
okay. Okay,
So we'll have to just get some verification on the roll gates, whether or not you can see through.
I understand.
Into the space. And then what about any lighting or any new cameras that will be visible from the street?
There is, in one of the slides, there is reference to recessed LED lighting underneath the housing for the roll gates.
Oh, here's the pockets.
Right.
Yeah, it's the dashed little
Oh, the
squares.
dash,
Yeah,
okay.
so they hide behind the roll gates and bring ambient lights.
Have you been meeting at Landmarks? Do you have someone that you've been meeting with at Landmarks on this project?
Yes.
And did they mention any concerns about anything that you've done? Or anything that you're proposing? What are Landmarks' concerns that we should really? be holding in
The
mind?
roll gates have been one of the sticking points. So I think that there's a reference to recessing the roll gates internally.
Yes, into the store.
Which is not feasible. It's just not, there's, on the kitchen side, there's absolutely no space to do it. It's not, it just can't be done. There's storage, there's a riser that's on the inside there for the building's gas line.
Do you have a picture that shows, I guess, why?
From the interior?
Yeah, why the roll gate can't be recessed?
Not in this set of slides, but I can provide that.
Okay.
In terms of the maintenance of that on the interior of the cafeteria side, the seating side, having a recessed roll gate on the interior of the cafe will completely alter the dynamic of the space. And also make it very difficult to maintain and repair, should it become necessary to do so.
I think that the real concern our advocate or our dedicated person at the LPC brought up was the full gate versus the open gate. And I think that's something that they were like, well, Philip's insurance broker, it's like, no, we can't insure it if you don't take it down or if it doesn't close. But if you, we design-wise were open to it. It's just
Right.
it's a logistical issue. So their recommendation was present with the LPC, see what they say, and take it from there. But be warned. So,
Well, can you help us understand, is it seating right behind?
It's service and
It's
seating.
service, okay.
So right in that, on the north window, the northernmost window is a bank seating right behind the window.
Can you point out, it's like, tell me what slide to go to.
So you can see it from here, this window right here.
Is a banquet?
There's a banquette that's right on that window. So there's seating right there underneath that. There's food storage right at this window here on the southern edge. We display products in that window on a table.
Yeah.
There, right here is also a display case where we display food. So having to do maintenance on top of any of that would be just really, I feel like a health code hazard. It would be a nightmare.
Why does LPC prefer this, the other option than the other?
To interiorize the housing? I don't know.
It's an aesthetic thing. I know that in recent years, they don't approve. And I guess this is why you need a public hearing. This is
Right.
why you come before us.
Right.
This is why I try to get to the bottom, because this is how we learn. And we're all novices,
Sure,
but
so am I.
it's, and I've noticed, and I think maybe it was the economic development where they went, well, they're making all new roll gates be open so that you can
Right.
visually see in, and they have to be recessed.
The open slat is not something that I would resist if that were a demand. The interior housing would be a real issue and cause a lot of headache and a lot of.
Because they don't
Problem.
want anything to be taken away from the facade, you know, in the aesthetics or what has normally been there, even though in your case, you have an existing roll gate that is closed, but because you need to replace it.
Yeah.
Anytime you do something new, you have to replace it with what is today's standard.
Yeah.
And today's standard is they're not approving that.
Yeah, if you go to the section drawing that is before it, one more, please. Here you go. You see that if the gate goes, so this is a section drawing that shows this is the inside, this is the outside, this is the banquet seating, right as you come in through the door. Right now, if we start from the bottom, we have the bulkhead where the mosaic is. We then have the windows that are fixed. On top of them, we have the awnings that are operable. And on top of them is the gate that comes in the thickness of the drop ceiling on the inside, right? So if we were to take this little gate and squeeze it down here, then he no longer has the operable awning. Is a kind of sectional impossibility of it all.
Yeah, that makes sense. I personally don't have an issue with that. I hope that it gets approved so that it doesn't become an issue. I don't understand why it should be one.
Thank you.
I see a lot of people.
I don't either,
mean,
but again,
LBC's
I don't
got
have the
their own
technical insight of the committee, so I don't know what their intentions are.
For me as an architect, recess and everything is joy. It's just like, yes, let's hide everything. I'm here for it. It's just in the pragmatics of how this section works. Everything would drop. This is our minimum door we are required to have. We just no longer would have space to operate this facade. And then, of course, all of the sort of threat hazards, headaches.
But you'll have to show us a picture of the actual roll or rendering of how that will look against the backdrop of the new storefront.
Okay.
So that we get a visual, they're gonna ask you to do that.
Understood.
Okay. So that we can see visually what that looks like.
What do you mean with the gate down?
With the gate down, yes. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's totally possible to make one more rendering with the gates down. And I think we just need to.
Yeah, we can work on that.
What's the best way to get this to you? Update the package and.
Yeah,
resend it?
email, yeah. But all the, the awnings are new. I mean, I think it's beautiful, and I think it's interesting the way that you're doing it with the mosaic tile, the artwork.
Thank you.
It's just, but people don't like change because you all haven't changed in.
They're gonna love it. It looks great. They'll deal with it. They'll love it. They're gonna love it.
It's as close as we can get.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's passed away.
And I was there in the winter and it was freezing in there, so I get why.
You understand
I
completely.
understand.
It's like, he basically runs an outdoors.
Yeah.
This is a garden.
Yeah.
It's true,
Well, it looks as if you guys have given it your all.
Yeah, we're
to
trying.
stay as close to what was.
We'll see.
Fingers and toes.
We appreciate your support. That's for sure.
Are you repairing the sidewalk around it, or, any grading or anything like that in the front?
To the sidewalk? No.
Yeah, no.
The sidewalk is existing.
And just, and I know this doesn't matter, are you making any improvements on the inside?
No, not related to this project. There might be equipment changes, but that has nothing to do with this project.
Or any other changes to the facade, any?
Only
pointing?
only what's been demonstrated in these slides.
Okay.
If
The full
you,
scope.
one of the sort of more technical, less compelling drawings we have, if you go to back, you get to see each arrow identifies what's new. Sorry, one more. And one more. I hate, okay, here we are. Each arrow identifies what's new and what's existing. So it will say new, 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 everything else, no change or new door. So we have this as a reference.
Oh, okay,
Any
so
of these
this will be
questions
helpful.
come
So
up.
this is on page 18 of the packet. Okay, very good. Well, thank you. Unfortunately, we can't take a vote because we do not have a quorum. And I hate that. So we'll have to present it at our executive committee meeting next Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, but thank you so much for being here.
And what's the process after that? So the executive committee meeting is
They
Thursday.
voted the executive committee meeting to put it on the general board's agenda if it makes it through committee. If
Okay.
there are any additional changes that's being requested, so try to provide us with updated drawings before, as soon as possible.
Sure.
Like by next Tuesday, Wednesday, if
Okay.
possible. Because we have to include this in the packet for the executive committee.
I see.
Okay?
Okay.
Because we're not able to.
And then would we come and represent at the general meeting?
You can, and you can do it virtually. You don't have to come in person. It would be helpful.
Okay.
It's always helpful because you weren't able to benefit from a vote here, and I am so this year. I was annoyed last year. I'm going to be more annoyed this year because when people decide that they want to be a part of the community board, it involves a commitment, and we have to show up for our small business owners and for our neighbors. This is why we decided to do this job. So I will need a volunteer to write the letter of support for. So we're gonna have to write something to present to the executive committee because we're gonna have very limited time between the executive committee and the general board. Because ultimately what they need a letter of support for the landmarks preservation.
Correct.
Yeah. And we need a letter of support in order to present to the general board for voting.
Okay.
So we have to draft the letter.
Okay.
And last year I wrote all the letters and so on. We're gonna have to kind of share the responsibilities this year.
Okay.
Okay.
Great job,
Does
y'all.
any,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
And thank you for
that was
hanging out
great.
with us. And
Thank you.
I mean, I can't wait. Like I said, I recommended you already to someone today.
Thank you.
Oh, I love the
Who was
picture.
looking for pastry and bread. Do you also serve bread? Or
Just pastry.
Just pastries?
We do some
You do
we do
croissants.
croissants and laminated dough, yeah, but
Yeah.
not like yeasted breads.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, when I came in, it was cold. It did stay cold long because so many people were packed in there, so.
So I'm wondering, what is it that you all don't, have Wi-Fi? Do you think you'll ever,
Did they have Wi-Fi in 1976?
No. You haven't changed anything, but now you're changing the storefront.
We've changed many things.
Okay.
We've changed many things. So that's the existing paintings were only put up in 2009.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, it feels like a long time, but in the history, relative to the history of the shop, as you can see from the earlier, if you go through the slides, there's representations of earlier iterations of the storefront.
Mhm.
They were Yanni Poznikov creations, but they were not the same Yanni Poznikov creations. everything is always evolved. But it's within scope.
Yes.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Sharing, and then I'm going to put up the agenda again, because now we have just a few items to go through.
I think we are.
You're done, yeah, you're done.
Okay, thank you so much for your
Thank you so
time.
much.
Everybody online, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Really nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
They said
I'll see you all at shop.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Oh, yeah, no, this is gonna be
But it was like, I gotta try it.
Okay, so we're
I was
gonna,
gonna print it out.
yeah, was there any other action items or old business that we just need to, comment on? Is there anyone left?
Hey, Heather, it's Shannon. I can give you a quick 30-second update.
Does anyone, and these are just quick announcements, that's it, because we're out of time. I don't realize we're at 8:38 now, we should.
Heather, can you hear me?
Who is it? Is that Savannah?
Yeah.
Yes. You have us on the agenda. Did you wish for us to make a report?
You just wanna, I just put your information because I just, this is like a reminder to let people know what you're doing, but if you have any quick update, that's fine. Go ahead, Savannah.
Well, you had us on the agenda, so I assumed you wanted me to make a report.
You can just briefly tell us any update you have.
Well, first of all, our project is Harlem Sculpture Gardens, not Harlem Sculpture Walk. That was the original name, but we changed that before we sent out the press release.
Okay.
Our deadline for our call to artists is next week on September 15th. And then from there, we will assess all of the proposals and make our recommendations to the Parks Department, particularly Elizabeth Masella and her team, Jonathan Kuhn and Jennifer Lanza. I'm assuming that will take at least 2 months, and then we will be coming back to the board in early 2024 with all of the proposals given, and then looking for the board to approve all the installations.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have a quick update? Thank you so much, Savannah.
Thank you. You all have a great evening.
Okay, so we,
I thought Shannon was trying to talk, but I guess
Shannon, did you have enough? Okay. All right then, so I don't know if we can, the agenda, the minutes, I don't even know if we did that because we didn't have. Yeah, so we can't, so we'll do that the next meeting if we get a quorum. All right, so at 8:41. A motion then to end the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn. Thank you, Annette. Is there a second? I second.
There's a second from here.
Dan.
Oh, Dan.
That's Dan.
Okay, let's see, how do I save? Make sure.
Oh, say the chat. I don't know. Oh, there it is, right here. You have it. You got it.
Well,
You got it. Oh, where's it go? Oh, I see it. It's right there. Oh, we have to send it right into the board, the chat.
And then make sure that you sign the sign in.
Yes, that's that. Oh, what's it? Alyssa. Alyssa, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Oh, and we didn't introduce If someone else could save the chat just in case, because I'm having issues trying to save this all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah, we're still recording.
Yeah, I'll stop recording.
Okay.